Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool radio repair video for you this evening. Now, normally on our channel, we do arcade game, pinball machine, or jukebox repair videos. But lately, on the weekend, I've been doing these amateur repair time videos. I'm here in my office. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I collect, old clocks and old radios. And this is actually a friend of ours brought this to me and wanted to know if I could check it out and see if I could get it to work. He said something about he can only get one channel on it or something. And he doesn't know if the record player works. So he wants me to check it all out. So I figured, why not? We'll make a video. He's a viewer. He watches our videos. So he'll be watching this, I'm sure. This is a Craig stereo, I would call it. So let's see what we got here. On and off, volume, balance. No, that's not volume, that's volume. Tone, balance, volume, tuning. And then it has provisions here for phonograph, AM, FM, MPX, and tape. MPX. Now, I just said this is amateur repair time. I have no clue what MPX is. Is that like is that FM stereo? It's like another name for FM stereo, maybe? That would be my guess, but I don't know. MPX. I don't know. I would estimate this system is probably from the late 70s, if I was just going to guess. But I think what I'll do is, it has speakers as well. We'll go through it piece by piece. So here's what I'll do. Let me put the record player to the side for now, and we'll leave one speaker over here, and we'll get a better look at this receiver here and start there. So here's one of the speakers. The other one actually has a Craig logo on it. Well, I guess this one does in the middle. And it just plugs in, of course. I stand by my late 70s evaluation here. This looks pretty cool to me. The only thing is it's that pressed wood stuff. But that's all right. Other than that, this is my type of stuff. So this pressed wood stuff, you know, it just ain't quite as nice as the wood stuff, but it is what it is. I think there was a time in the 70s at some point where the pressed wood stuff for a while was considered better than the wood stuff. I mean, now we all know that it's not, but I think for a while there, they were trying to act like, oh, this is higher quality stuff. Okay, maybe not on a Craig though. Okay, Craig 1506, code 1. AC 120 volt, 60 hertz, 25 watts. 25 watts, that would tell me this was never meant to be like a high-end set. You know, they're probably, you know, the higher-end ones are probably 100 watts or more. But my buddy, this is his, he doesn't really want, you know, a high-end set. He just wants one that plays well and works well. And he liked this one, so we're going to see if we can get it to work, or if it already works, or what the deal is. For location of nearest authorized service station, call Western Union by number and ask for operator 25. Design certified for compliance with FCC rules part 15, part 16. Craig Corporation, Los Angeles, California, manufactured by Sanyo in Japan. That's pretty cool. Sanyo, I love their stuff. Well, in the arcade games, Sanyo made the monitors for the Donkey Kong machines. So the Nintendo arcade games had Sanyo monitors, and they're completely different than the American-made monitors, but they have a reputation of having a nice picture. People kind of like them. Caution, high voltage inside to prevent electrical shock. Do not remove screws or attempt to enter this enclosure. Well, I guess I won't be able to work on this one. No user serviceable parts inside. Refer all servicing to qualified service personnel. Service person. qualified. Am I I mean, I'm not really qualified, but I'm going to give it a shot. Like I said, this is amateur repair time, not professional repair time. Internal antenna, FM, external antenna. Internal antenna, external antenna. I don't understand why they did that, like that. It says FM antenna. I don't get that either. I'm just saying I don't understand why it says internal antenna. If it said external antenna, FM antenna, that would make sense to me. Tape, right and left. We don't have the tape deck. Phono, right and left. We've got the phono. Speaker, right and left. 4-ohm speakers. Okay, so we'll let her rip, Tater Chip. We're going to turn it back around, look at the front, and we'll plug this speaker in, and then we'll fire her up and see what she does. Now, my buddy has already fired it up, and this isn't really, since it's solid state, I wouldn't try to bring it up on a Variac or anything. I just do that with really old tube sets or something. So I think it'd be fine to just plug her in. It's a good-looking little set. I've got a Panasonic over there. It's kind of the same era, I think. And I don't think I even got those speakers with it. I think maybe, I don't know. Okay, well, we've got her plugged in. Let's see here. Let's get the volume down. It's all the way up. Balance left and right. Tone low, medium, high. And we're on MPX. Let's put it on FM. Let's see what we get. Now, we don't have an FM antenna on it. We've immediately got something going on. Now, I was just looking earlier, Donnie and I were talking about, believe it or not, a radio station. And so we were talking about the country station in Charlotte on FM 103.7 that he listens to all the time. So I looked it up earlier today, and it was built in the 1940s, has a 100,000 watt transmitter in East Charlotte. I'm in East Charlotte. And their letters are 103.7. So we'll see. We should be able to get 103.7 probably without even an antenna. No. Okay. So we're getting the same thing all the way across the dial. Like if you turn it, we're picking up the same thing no matter where we are. All right. Okay, let me see what the MPX is. Yeah. So I turn it to MPX and it's still doing the same thing, which maybe that means that's FM stereo. I've seen on, stereos before where they have AM, FM, and then FM stereo. Okay, so let's put it on AM. AM's going to have an internal antenna, I would imagine. So you may actually get better reception on AM just because it's already got the antenna inside of it. And we'll see if it gives us just one channel all the way across or if we get several channels. I would assume, knowing the little teeny bit that I know, that the AM section of the radio and the FM section have nothing to do with each other. They just share the same amplifier. And we were getting good gain out of the radio. Remember, we don't even have it turned up. So, I mean, the volume and the amplifier is working fine. It's just the FM's not getting any signal. The AM's completely different. So it won't have anything to do with that FM part that doesn't get any signal. Now in Charlotte, the AM channel is 1110. That's huge. So we're right on it. Let's see if it comes in. It's a 50,000 watt station right down the road. Wow, I don't think we're getting anything. That's interesting. The radio's haunted. The radio is haunted. The AM doesn't work and the FM doesn't work. And no matter what you adjust it to, you don't get anything different. I'm going to change my opinion. Maybe when we turn to tuning, we're moving this, but we're not actually coupled to anything in here that's actually changing the channel. It does change, though, whenever I turn it. I mean, you're getting the same thing, but it is doing something. So it must be turning something in there, but that's weird that it's doing it on AM and FM. Okay. I just did the call letters. Okay, let's just make sure. Okay, so we're all the way right, and that killed the speaker because it's on the left. So that's probably right. And then tone shouldn't have anything to do with it. More bass, more treble. All right, so the tone seems to be working fine. The balance is working fine. The volume is working fine. The tuner isn't working at all, and the selector switch seems to be working fine. So let's open her up. So on the bottom, there's actually a little plate you can take off. Presumably, I guess, so you could get in and adjust the IF cans. So you could tune it in better. But I don't think that's where our problem's going to be, unless somebody took that plate off and started screwing with it. But I don't think they did. I'm not saying my buddy did. I'm just saying I don't think anybody has in the past because, I mean, why would you do that? I don't think they did. I think what's going to happen is these caps need replaced. But we're going to open it up and look. All right, so I was able to get the tuner out. I'm mistaken. This isn't pressed wood. I don't think the speaker is either. I was seeing sawdust all over the place, but it was all coming from the record player part. So this is actually just thin, like paneling or whatever. Or what would you call it? Plywood. But it's nice, pretty decent stuff. So let's see what's going on with this. All right. Well, I figured out what the internal versus external antenna thing means. Basically, if you're using the internal antenna, you're supposed to hook that little metal piece on the power cord to where it says internal antenna. So I've done that, and that's making my FM actually get a channel. But no matter where you tune it, it stays on that same channel. I'm wondering if the wheel has just slipped loose or something. That's so strange. I've never seen one do that. Okay, if you push down on this, right, so there's a problem with it's a physical problem. Let's see on AM. So this is AM. Let's see if I can get different channels by just pushing down on this. Yeah, I think there's some kind of physical problem with that, how that's mounted. Which sucks, because I hate having to take that wire loose. And it's going to come loose just as sure as I take that off. But we kind of have to, I think. Okay, so I taped it, and then I carefully took that off and turned the knob underneath, and it did the exact same thing. So it's not a physical thing. I thought it was, but basically whatever position that oscillator's on, or I don't know if you still call that the tuning cap or not, but whatever positions that's on, it does not change. And it's stuck on a horrible news channel. Oh, the news is driving me crazy. I'd have to turn it off. Okay, so I looked online, no schematics at all. What's kind of throwing me for a loop is I don't know why it would do it on AM and FM. That's strange. All right, so here's the back of that, you know, on an older radio, what would be called the tuning capacitor. And it's got 4 trimmer adjustments, which, and since it's on it's ganged basically, that one dial, of course, is controlling AM and FM. That leads me to believe that this is handling both AM and FM. So just my best guess, what's going to be the problem is we're going to have a bad transistor right here somewhere around it. I was saying earlier I thought it'd be bad caps, but I don't think it really can be. We've got tons of caps over here, but this is going to be the amp section. You know, these are tone control, volume control, and balance control. So this is your amp here. So it's not going to be anything there. I mean, we're getting plenty of volume and everything. It could be one of these caps here, but I don't think so. I think if it was one of these, you might lose all reception, right? Or this might be the FM area and this might be the AM area or something. But since both the FM and the AM are using this, there's got to be a transistor around here that works in conjunction with this, and that transistor is probably screwed up. That's just my best guess. Again, amateur repair time. So I'm going to see if I can figure out what any of those are, or maybe I look for schematics. There's no schematics. This is the antenna coming in from the FM thing that we were talking about. So the external FM antenna attaches here. The internal attaches to this, which basically I guess makes the power cord and the so-called internal antenna, right? So that connects there. So FM is somewhere here. But man, without schematics and not being, you know, super experienced with these, this might be a tough one. So I'm going to see if I can find a schematic of something similar and just see if I can figure out how this area is set up. All right, folks, like I said, I don't have the schematics. Nobody has the schematics apparently, but this is just a random Sanyo from around that time. This one's a little bit more complex, but it doesn't have an IC. This one's running off of discrete components like ours is. And so I'm just looking over how this thing works. This is the FM section, and the AM section is down here. There's nothing really that they have in common. These dotted lines are the tuner, or the actual physical control, basically, connecting all of that together. But then I started thinking about it. They do have one thing in common. They've got voltages in common. So for instance, on this set, a lot of it runs on 9 volts, right? So there is an area of the power supply, of course, that creates 9 volts that's running everything. Let me show you a separate one. This is for a Sanyo FMT 200K, which I think is probably actually a little newer than ours. But if you get down to the schematics, this one actually does use an IC, but it's a similar power, so it's a low end set. You know, it's only 25, 30 watts. and it uses a transformer, which ours does. And so you can see that the power comes, the power runs through, goes through the transformer. And then these little bubbles here, the comic strip bubbles, are supposed to have voltages listed in them, but they didn't write down what they are. But, you know, this one might be, I don't know. This one might be 125 or 140 or so for like a B plus. This one, after it runs through this resistor, might be 110 or something, and this one might be 9 that this transistor is creating or something. Whatever, right? They didn't write it down on this one, but you can see up here in the other sections where they call it out. So they're showing you that voltage is there, that voltage is there. And of course, that's how the thing runs. It needs electricity to run. So all of these, like whenever you're adjusting the frequency, you're really adjusting a voltage, you know. So my theory is that the reason that it's stuck on one channel is because no matter how you adjust it, the voltage isn't there, so it's not actually adjusting anything. So why would it do that? Well, caps again. So I think that's next. We're going to have to find the capacitors that are in if I had schematics, this would be a lot easier. And if I had a long history of working on them, you could kind of know, you know, because it's probably like that one says 9 volts. It may be that all of them run on 9 volts, but I don't know that, you know. Or it may be that there's only 2 or 3 basic designs that, you know, have different components and things, but they all use one of 3 voltages. In arcade games, it's kind of like that. You know, all the chips run on 5 volts, but you need 12, and then some RAM chips need -5. So if you've worked on that before, you know, oh, well, I got to have -5 for this. So it's just something that you learn with a long history of working on stuff. But anyway, if I had the schematics, I could check voltages at certain places, but we'll see if we can find what the power supply appears to look like on that and start swapping capacitors there and look for burnt up resistors, because it could be that, let's just use the number 9 since the other one actually called out 9. It could be that it creates 9 volts and everything's fine in the power supply, but then whenever it runs over to the radio, maybe right as it's going on that area of the board, there's a resistor that's burned up, and so that area of the board is missing the 9 volts, but it's there for other parts of the board that need it. So, all right, I think I'm getting somewhere. Nothing's fixed yet, but so the power comes in right over here, and it's this black line right here. It runs up and plugs into the switch. Okay, the switch on the other side of the switch turns the 2 black lines into a red and a black line and another red and a black line. One set of red and black lines runs to this transformer. This transformer has the 2 blue lines coming out of it. The only thing the 2 blue lines do is hook to all these little white wires. These little white wires, all they are the lights for the display. There's 3 little lights in there, and they're running off AC. So this is probably like a 6 volt or a 12 volt transformer, and that's all that's used for. Okay, this one is Big Papa that runs everything. So this one, the output of it is blue, yellow, and blue. So that's your power supply for the entire radio. Those go back through the grommet, and then they come up here. The yellow is the center tap. So that's ground, basically. The blue comes in here, and then the other one comes in here. These 3 pins here are a transistor of some sort. I would assume, there I go again, that it's some kind of bridge rectifier. So between the yellow and the blue, you have 13 volts on both of them, AC. And then once that's all done, you have on this 13 volts DC or something like that, 11 volts, 12 volts, something. And then on this, with the yellow hook to it, this is your ground, or vice versa. It may be that this is the 12 and this is the ground.
You can
all right, folks, so I've recapped the radio section. Over to the amp, nothing. It just won't do it. It will not do it. So it just, whatever you put it on, it won't change the channel, and it is on the worst possible channel. I never listen to this crap on the radio. It's like the BBC, or it's like PBS or something. It's some government channel, and it's the nonstop Victim Olympics. It's like they're finding people in a war zone and talking to them about how they got killed, or they're finding somebody that got kidnapped, and the story's all about how they got kidnapped, or it's about somebody who's starving to death. It's the most horrible crap I've ever heard. This is like what hell is going to be like if I end up going to hell. I'm going to have a radio, and it's going to be stuck on this freaking channel. So unfortunately, I don't have the schematics. I can't tell what voltage it's supposed to run on or anything. I've looked and looked and looked, and this thing, it's like, since it's not high end, there's no schematics. And since it's not low end, it's just complicated enough that I can't figure it out. I don't know enough about the voltages without having a schematic to tell me what voltage I need to have where. I can't tell what's missing, unfortunately. So I think what I'll do is put it back in the box, and we'll see if this record player works that hooks up to it. And maybe we'll at least get it to play some good vinyl. Folks, it's viewer mail time. I've had a couple presents. Here is my address. If you would like to send me a card or something, or Joey, or Donnie. We're not soliciting anything. We don't need anything. We don't want anything. But if you want to send us something, that's fine. So I have a present here. Look, it says Australia Post. That means this one's come a long way, baby. This comes from Michael, who is in Australia. And there is just a single piece of paper in this bag. So let's read his note. Hello, Ron. Find enclosed a USB drive containing scans of old Australian radio, TV, and hobbies magazines. That's freaking cool. I love it. It's old-fashioned and new-fashioned at the same time. He wrote me a letter to send me a bunch of old magazines and put them on a USB stick when we could have probably downloaded them or something, but no. He wrote me a letter and mailed them to me. I love it. Given your interest in old radios and other similar things, well, I don't know why you would think that I'm interested in old radio. I mean, I don't know what would make you think that. Like the one out in the hallway that I don't know why you would think that I have an interest in old radios. Given your interest in old radios and other similar things, I thought you might get a kick out of some of the articles in the magazines. Well, it sounds like I would. This sounds exciting. There is an attachment about copyright in Australia, but I think that's only making reproductions of any CDs containing the magazines. Up to you how you manage that. I will take care of it. Anyway, best wishes to all the Lions tribe, and keep up the good work in YouTube. Regards, Michael from the land down under. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's see if we can get this thing off of here, Michael. Michael, it has made it. It made it intact. I will check these out. Let's see what they are. And, you know, I could have just pushed it through the paper. That would have been smarter. Maybe next time. So we have a little USB drive here, all the way from Australia. Very cool. Who knows how much is on there, but it's less than 16 gigabytes for sure. I will check that out, Michael. I really appreciate it. You know, I don't really have any way of getting those over here. An Australian magazine of old radios and stuff I would never have run across. So I appreciate that. That's very cool. I'll check them out. Look for, I may if I find something I can use in a video or something, I'll show some of those in a later video. And then I got another one here. This gentleman emailed me, or I think he left a message on YouTube. And he bought this from Walmart. And he just had it sent, so I don't think there's a note. He sent me a note online, he mentioned it. He said, Ron, I'm going to send you a radio kit. It's a good way to learn about how radios work. Well, that's pretty cool. Elenco. That's pretty sweet. So let's see what's in it. Well, maybe I can open it with one hand. Maybe. Possibly. Instructions, of course. Telling you how all that works, I guess. And here would be the PCB. Doesn't look like there's a bunch going on. That ought to be a fairly simple assembly. And here's a bag of parts. I see solder. Maybe that's a speaker. Little IC. That's the tuning condenser. A few caps. A little resistor card. Volume pot. Very cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll see if we can do a video where we put that thing together and get it playing some good tunes, man. There's if you go look at any reggae music videos, all of the people in the comments say good tune, man, like CHUNE. Good tune, man. I like that. All right, so thank you to the gentleman that sent me that radio, and thank you to Michael for sending me these magazine articles. I will check them all out. I really appreciate it. Now, back to our regular video. So I put it back together. I hooked up both of the speakers, and now we're going to test this turntable. This is also a Craig, so I don't know if this is from the exact set, though. Probably, I guess. This is made of particle board, though, and that's, like, nicer. And this is a lot bigger than that, so this couldn't really sit on top of that, but I guess it could be meant to sit beside each other. Plastic lid is nice and intact. It's not the kind with a hinge, it's the kind that just comes off. It's a little bit dirty, but I think that is this, actually. Manual stub spindle. So maybe if you put that on the top of this, oh no, this probably, does this come out? That may actually come out, but we'll test it with that in there. Spindle projection. You may be able to remove that, or they may have it where that just goes on the top to make it manual. I don't know. Let's see what the needle looks like. You know, that's kind of the killer. If the needle's all, it's not going to let me focus. Is it? Now, there we go. It's in there. Well, got it plugged up. Let's see if we get anything. Stop, start, auto. Boy, she spins well. 78, 45, 33. Let's put it on 33. On off control. It looks like it's got a little piece broke off. Maybe there's a little arm that was supposed to be there. Let's see if she'll do anything. Looks right. Maybe a little slow though, I don't know. Let's try 45. Looks about right. Let's try 78. Oh yeah. I think we might be all right. Here's my record I'm going to test with. All right, this radio is possessed. So, doesn't this look like a good church-going woman here? I thought when I found this, I got a whole stack of records in the other room that I bought that I haven't listened to. I thought this was like a church album, so I grabbed it. But I don't think it is. I think she's just a heavenly-looking woman, right? Roberta Sherwood, with orchestra directed by Jack Plies. I have never heard of this woman, and I have listened to a lot of music. So I'm going to guess that this isn't copyrighted. She says she's got a right to sing. But it looks like none of the songs are religious. So I kind of wanted a religious song so we could see if we could exercise this radio. That's my last ditch effort. If I play some good old gospel through here, it might like drive the demon out. I don't know. You know, usually I have the power to heal your pinball machine, but I don't know that I can heal a radio. So, but look, it has Georgia on My Mind on it. You think she can sing Georgia on My Mind? It's probably not copyrighted. So let's see if we can get it to play. All right, I've got it clamped up. I haven't used one of these in years. When I was a kid, I had one. It's set on 12, I believe, which this is, I think, how you set where the arm sets down. So it's a 12-inch. We're telling it's a 12-inch, so the arm tries to set down. Anti-skate, I don't know enough about that. This, I believe, was a way to lift the arm, I think. And then I think if you turn it to auto, it should drop it. Let's see if it'll work. Ooh. Oh, I messed up when I did this. Oh, I don't have the radio on. Phono, here we go. You know, that needle didn't look great. Oh, wait a minute. We're still stuck on the run-in. Does that say 78? Is this the type that's reversible? Heck yeah. What's that say? LP. Let's try this one more time. Is the anti-skate thing screwing me up? That wasn't good, was it? All right, I'm just gonna lightly push down on it. I think we got a problem with our needle. Well, so far it's been a bust. Let me look and see if I can do anything with the needle, or if it's just done. Well, there's your problem. The needle's broke off. The end of it is broke off. So it's not going to play with the end broke off. Let me see if I've got another one around here. If there's something similar on another record player that I've got. All right, folks, so here's the bottom of it. I have taken the panel off, and you can just kind of get an idea of what things look like inside. It's kind of pretty serviceable, but it doesn't really need much service, I don't think. But the reason I did that is because if you mess with it, I can't get any sound out of the right speaker, but it seems like that was because this was partially removed inside of it. They have just plugged RCA cables into these jacks here. So I've got them back down in there. I'm gonna test it and see if I get noise coming out of each side of the pickup, and then we'll go from there. All right, folks, we have made some progress. So the needle here was broken. And so I thought, what am I going to do about that? So I looked up the part number, which is a 51D. And unfortunately, I did find a couple of those on eBay in Canada, but it just, you know, I was thinking, what in the world? It shouldn't be that rare to find a simple little needle like this. So I started looking around, just trying to figure out what kind of player this is. It's a Craig, but Craig didn't make any of their own stuff. It's just rebadged stuff. It looks similar to a BSR, but the reason is because it's a Glenburn. Glenburn apparently was a gentleman that used to run BSR. He left, started his own company making these, which he licensed to Craig and a bunch of other people. You know, he would create them and then put them, his company would create them and put them in other people's changers or equipment and stuff. So this is a Glenburn, not a BSR. Once I figured out it was a Glenburn, it was a lot easier to find a needle. So I found M853, and then D and S means diamond, sapphire, I think it's 007 and 0.003. I always forget how many zeros. 0007 and 003. Right? So this apparently fits well in a Glenburn. It is a pretty much identical copy it just doesn't have the needle broke off. Right? And I got two of them. They were only $10. So the I figured I'd get two in case I need one down the road for something. So after I did that, I was rubbing the needle, and I was getting sound out of the left, but was not getting sound out of the right. I was getting a very muffled sound out of the right. So that's when I took the bottom off, found these were loose, okay? These are just screwed up. These are old. So I put a brand new set of RCA cables inside of it. No big deal. At my video game store, I get RCA cables all day long. I literally had a guy trade in a couple. I mean, I don't pay anything for them, but a guy brought me, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, video game stuff, and there was a couple pairs of RCA cables in it earlier today at work. So I get those all the time. So they have no value to me. And I even throw them away from time to time. But I've got probably 100 pairs of them at work, so it's no big deal. So I've replaced those. Now whenever I touch the needle, I'm getting good sound out of both sides. So I think we're going to be smooth. Okay, now here's the deal. This is going to blow your mind. So I was talking about this lady here, Roberta Sherwood. She has an orchestra. And she says, I got a right to sing. This is another example of me misjudging the cover. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is going to be gospel, okay? Let me show you something here. I got a right to sing. Now let me blow your mind. Are you ready? Like, you know, she's doing Georgia. I want to hear her sing that, right? I got a right to sing, but that's not the whole song title. She's got a right to sing the blues. Oh, really? All right, so let's check it out. So we're on phono. We're evenly balanced if you listen. The right, left, I'm hearing noise on both. New needle is installed. Right on. Hopefully this isn't copyright protected.
Keeps dragging my poor heart around. All I can see.
Is this one of those records where it's got like the wrong picture on the cover, where, you know, they were doing some stuff they shouldn't? We got to go look this woman up and make sure that's really her. Well, guess what? That's her. Apparently she didn't get famous till she was 43 and sang blues. Crazy. Cool voice.
And believed all your life. Tables have changed and fate has reigned. Who's crying now? Who did you fool after Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Oh, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly, still in peaceful sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Oh, Georgia, 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 no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind, on my mind. Georgia, always on my mind.
All right, I don't know how much it let me play of that, but that was great. Whenever I saw this, I thought, oh, I'll listen to that and I'll take it to work and sell it. I'm not going to sell this. This is great. And I'm going to, every time I find her records somewhere, I'm going to pick them all up and see if I can get the whole collection. She's fantastic. Okay, so there was a little bit of a, almost like a cymbal, like there was a going on the top of the, anything like the symbol or the way that she enunciated stuff. So I don't know if that's the record or the recording or if it's the amp or what. So I'm going to play a 78 to test that and also to just see if it does that hissing in it. Oh, you know, I've got the wrong, I had it set on the wrong side of the needle, which won't hurt anything, but I've swapped it. And it sounds great. So that hissing must be on that record or the recording or something. All right, so this one's going to be copyrighted, but we'll see if it'll let us play a few seconds of it in honor of Christmas. And we'll see if it'll stack the records all right and play them with more than one on the platter. Oh.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen.
Boy, it's dirty.
But do you recall the most famous
We're running that needle through it. It'll clean it up a little bit, though.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very sharp. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names. Never came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
All right, folks. So I think that's where we'll leave it. I'll let my buddy know. I can't figure out what's wrong with the AM and the FM. Gave it the good college try. I don't have any schematics, and I replaced what I thought it might be, or what I would be able to fix, which would be the capacitors between the power supply and the tuner. That had nothing to do with it, apparently, but I don't even know what the voltages are supposed to be. So he's just going to have to be happy with it stuck on the radio channel from hell, where all they do is talk about murder and death. But the phonograph works real good, and I think he's more interested in that. Also, if he hooks up a tape player to it, He could go back and forth and play tapes and stuff too. So I'll let him decide what he wants to do with that. But there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a really cool Craig tuner. If you've got any ideas of what's wrong with the tuner, please let me know down below. The Craig turntable changer works great other than the AV cables, which is about the easiest fix you can get other than maybe the needle. That was an easy fix too. But hopefully he can use this and he'll be happy with it playing records. If not, he can trash this part, although the amp's good in it, you know, and keep the record changer, which seems to work pretty good. So there you go, folks. Let me know what you think. I will see you on the next video. This is Amateur Repair Time. We'll see you back Tuesday with an arcade game, pinball machine, or jukebox video. Actually, I know it's a arcade game video, so we'll see you Tuesday with an arcade game video. I hope you enjoyed it. And that's that.